Okay, so today we're going to talk and demo about the Keynote, which is basically equivalent of, so Apple has an equivalent to the Microsoft Office suite, what's called the iWork suite. So we got, normally with Microsoft Office, you got Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. With Apple's iWork suite, you have Keynote, which is equivalent to PowerPoint, Pages, which is equivalent to Word, and Sheets, which is equivalent to, or is that right?
Numbers.
Numbers, thank you. Numbers, which is equivalent to Excel. I'm thinking Google. So today we're going to talk about Keynote. Everybody have used PowerPoint before? Mm-hmm. Yep. So Keynote isn't all that much different. You'll just kind of notice a difference with where things are located. So toolbars will look different and some other options. So, but it pretty much has everything that PowerPoint can offer as well. So to open up Keynote, one of the easiest things to do is to go up. You'll have a little magnifying glass up in the upper right hand corner, which is it's called the spotlight. It's kind of a way to search for different things on your computer. So if you open that spotlight up and just type in Keynote, it'll come up with results, and usually the top hit in applications will say Keynote, and you can just click on Keynote and it will open. And since it's the first time that you guys are probably opening this program on your computer, you're probably seeing this screen, yes? Mm-hmm. So just go ahead and hit continue. And then you can either view my presentations, which is you can open up current presentations, or you can do create a presentation. So go ahead and hit create a presentation. Anytime you create a new presentation, either by first opening up this program, usually if you open up a program, it's going to take you to this window to choose a theme. Or if you already have Keynote open, you can always go up to File and New. And when you click File New, it'll take you to this window as well. So, so choosing a theme, so this is just like PowerPoint, it has different themes. So there's just a black theme, a white theme, a gradient, and some of these others that are more extensive with their designs and everything. For today, I'm just going to go to open up one of the white ones. You can choose whatever theme you want if you want to click on a theme and open it. There's also standard and wide. You'll see standard and wide options at the top. If you're going to be presenting on a projector or computer that is widescreen, which is kind of what I have right now today, you can choose wide, and it'll put it in a wide format, 16:9 format. The standard is just a 4:3 format. So I'll go ahead and choose wide, and I'm just going to choose the white template. And click choose at the bottom, and then it opens up. And this is kind of the interface for Keynote. You'll notice it's kind of very similar to PowerPoint, whereas on the left-hand side, they have your slide kind of icons, page icons. Along the top, there's a toolbar with different options, and then on the side is where you have, depending on what you have clicked on, is where you can do different formatting options. I already have a file that I've kind of started to develop, so I'm going to go ahead and open that up as well. Okay, so you always start out with a title slide. So I've got my title slide. This is my title slide, just like you do in PowerPoint. Some of the other slides, so how do you add a new slide? Up here in the upper left-hand corner is this plus, and it says Add Slide. When you click on Add Slide, it'll bring up all the different options of different slides for this particular template. So you've got kind of your title slide. It looks like they have, the next slide is just a picture with kind of a title below it. This one is maybe kind of similar to a title, but maybe it's more geared toward putting in, if you have different sections in your presentation, kind of section headings. Then you have graphics along with text and bulleted points. A title, and then bulleted points along with a photo. You have several different options that you can choose from to add additional slides. Next to that icon is the zoom icon. A lot of times when you open things up, you might want to go down and choose Fit in Window so that you can see the entire slide within your window. I always like to just choose Fit to Window there, and it'll automatically fit to whatever size you have your application open with. And then View, the next icon over to that is View, where you can view different options of your Keynote. So you can view, so the navigator shows you on the left-hand side, shows you all your slides, and you have your main slide in the middle and your formatting on the right. You could do slide only, where you can just see the slide. You don't see all the other slides on the left-hand column. You could see them all in a kind of table type format, where if I had additional slides, you would see all the different slides next to each other. And then you have an outline. If you prefer to work in an outline view, this left-hand column you can kind of brainstorm out and create your kind of text of your Keynote presentation in an outline view if you wanted to. And PowerPoint has that options as well. So you can change your theme partway through the project if you want. And doing that, if you go to File, so let's say you choose the white theme, but maybe I don't want that, I want to choose another theme. Or if you get halfway through your project, or you're at the end of your project, and at the end of your project you decide, oh, I want to choose a different theme, you can always go up to File and Change Theme. It'll bring up your theme selections again, where you can then choose a different theme. Now, one thing to mention with that, if you do change your theme like at the end of your project or halfway through your project, just be aware that if you change it to a different theme, it may kind of mess with your formatting. So you may have some additional formatting to do once you've changed your theme. Because different themes have different text and sizes of text and things like that, where it may really kind of mess around with your current presentation. So just be mindful of that. But you can always go back and change your theme if you want to. If you've kind of got your presentation kind of set up, and I can show this maybe a little bit more once I've with this current presentation that I have. You can save your presentation as a theme. So if you've created a presentation, you like the look of it, and you're going to be presenting several different types of presentations that are similar to this, or a lot of businesses do this, where they'll set up a presentation in the background, they have their logo and things like that, and they want every presentation that everyone gives throughout their business to be very similar, and to use the same type of backgrounds. You can create a presentation and then save that as a theme for other people to use, or for yourself to use in the future. So to do that, you go up to File, and same area. Instead of Change Theme, there's Save Theme. So if you click on Save Theme, you can save that to a location on your computer, and you can also add the theme to the chooser. So then when that theme chooser, when that popped up at the beginning, your theme will appear there as well in the future when you go to create another presentation. So you can save your completed presentations as a theme if you're going to use those types of backgrounds and formatting for presentations in the future. Any questions? If any of you have any questions, go ahead and just shout them out or raise your hand.
So I noticed, real quick, when you were doing the view box on the left,
Yep.
that looking at those options, the last one is the presenter notes.
View, yep.
So just asking real quick, so if I were presenting in class and I had my notes, the notes would come up on the screen on my either laptop or screen, but then when projected.
So yeah, if I hit play right now, I don't think I have any notes in my presentation, but if I hit play, well, I don't have the
But it would show on
notes
your
on.
screen the notes,
Yes.
right? But then on the display.
So if I click that, so I've got my notes there, and let's see, play. Let's see, customize presenter display. So it shows something like this, where my computer would have this on it, but then the projection screen would have just the main one slide on it.
Okay.
And so here's presenter notes, so I would be able to see my notes here. I just don't think presenter is turned on for when I don't have my presenter view showing right there, so I'll have to look at why that it's not showing it. But yeah, there is an option where you can see the presenter view on this computer, and then what's projected on the main projection screen is just what you saw, just the slide. Okay. So have any of you worked with kind of master slides in PowerPoint? Or do you know what master slides are? So what master slides are is basically anything, when we go into this master view, anything you put, like a graphic or a logo on the slide, like and there's several different types of master slides. There's a master title slide, a master slide that has just your text and bulleted information, that kind of thing. But anything you put on that slide, when you add a new slide in your presentation, or you apply that slide format to any slide, in a future slide in your presentation, it's going to have that content on it. So if I go to view over here and go edit master slides, so I'm going to go to edit master slides, and you can do this if you want as well. And it says editing a master slide may change slides based on that master. So I'm going to go in and edit master slides, and you'll see I've got my title and subtitle up here. I've got photo horizontal format, title center format, photo vertical. Those are different types of formats of slides that you can add into your presentation. So on my main title slide, let's say I want to put in a logo in my upper left-hand column, and any type of title slide I put into my presentations will have that logo in the future. So I'm working in my master slides, and I've got an actual graphic on my computer. Sorry, you won't have the same files as I have, but so I've got just a Western Illinois graphic, and to add a graphic into your Keynote presentation, if you just drag and drop it right into Keynote, it'll show up on your slide, and then you can kind of resize it if you want. So I've got my WIU graphic here. I'll just resize it to make it smaller, and I want this to be displayed in the upper left-hand corner on all the title slides that I have. But I also want them to appear on any slide that I have titles and bullets as well. So I'm going to go ahead and add that graphic, and basically what I can do is just, if I want it in the exact same location, I'll just copy this graphic on my title slide and go to my format of title and bullets and hit paste. It'll put it in that exact location on that page, and pretty much any other page that I want it on. Let's try this one. I'll edit, paste again. It puts it in that same location. Kind of any of these types of slides that have kind of an empty space up here, I'll put that picture in. Yep.
Now, it only does this with this presentation if you create a new document or a new
Correct,
document.
or unless if you save this as a theme and then you apply that theme, or apply the theme to that presentation. But yeah, any other a blank presentation, or you choose a random theme, it won't have this on it. If you open up a new project, no, it will not.
You just have to do that master thing all over again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or save this as a theme if you want it to be used in the future. Okay, so I think maybe I'll add some. Let's see. You can also add, and we'll work with a little bit this later. Work with shapes and text, but I'm going to add a line down here. Maybe. There we go. It adds a line automatically, and then you can rotate it and move it. So I'm going to add a line, and then you can. So whenever you have something, a shape or text selected on your slide, over here in your format area, you'll have different options to be able to change and format that type of object or text. So over here I've got different style options for my line. I can change the stroke if you want it to be a line, different type of line, dotted or a kind of stylized type line. I'm going to choose this kind of style. I'm going to make the thickness a little bigger, and then I want to change the color to more of a purple color. So that will be up here on every slide. I'll just drag this over so I'll have a little line maybe over here, and then I'll maybe copy that line, copy and paste it, and have a line up here. Just going to add a little kind of design to your project. So that'll appear on title slides, and I can copy those and paste those if I want those on any other slide. So I'll copy both of those objects and go down here to and paste it on those slides, that kind of thing. So you can basically, anything you put on your master slide will then appear on all slides that you have associated with these types of formats. So if I exit my master slide, and to do that you go back to View and Exit Master Slides. Now you'll see that my main presentation has those changes to it, because all the I'll hide my presenter notes. So all those pages that I had in my current presentation, they didn't have these graphics in them, and now they do once I've changed that in my master.
My question is, if you decide to make your slides darker, will that affect like the words on there? Because I'll say that happens.
Yes, that's one thing you want to be mindful in creating any type of presentation is dark backgrounds, you want light text, and light backgrounds, you want dark text, so that your text can stand out. So yeah, that's when you're designing your slides or the backgrounds, changing the background colors, just be mindful of that. If you have a dark background, you want to have text that is light, so you'll need to change your text colors as well. Okay, so that's working and changing with master slides. Any other questions about master slides? Okay, we'll move on to, so these are the kind of things we're going to look at today. So we showed you how to create a new presentation and using the themes and changing Keynote themes while you're in the middle of a presentation and saving a custom theme. Working with changing masters, we just did that. So now we'll go on to working with text and shapes. So I've got a slide here that's just kind of blank, and it's got a title, Working with Text and Shapes. So this was a slide that I added that just had this title up here. So it just had the title at the top. It didn't have anything else. So that's how I added this slide and the type of format of the slide it was. So to add text that is just any one of these blank areas, there's a text tool at the top here. So at the top we've got a table icon, a chart icon, a text icon, a shape icon, a media icon, and a comment icon. So if you click on that text button, it'll automatically put a text box on your page kind of in the middle of the screen. Then you can move that to wherever you want it positioned at. You'll notice as you move things around, so I hover this text box over the middle of my slide, and you'll see a little brown line appear. These are guidelines, and they come in real handy when you have lots of different objects on your page that you want to kind of line up and space evenly throughout each other. We'll look at that more when I add a few shapes on the page. So text, when you click inside that text box, then you can type. And then again, you can move it around more to where you want it to be. If you want to change the font and style and all that type of text, you just click and highlight the text inside there. Or if you have the box just highlighted just like this, you'll see that in your right hand side we have different options for a text box. So we've got style, text, and arrange. So under style we can change the type of style the text is. If you want to fill color inside that text box, or if you want to border around your text, that kind of stuff, you can work with styles of text. Otherwise, if you click on text up here, it'll give you, that's where you can change your font point, font size, bold, italic, underline, align it left, center, right, that kind of stuff. So you can change the type of font and change the size. Bold, underline, that kind of stuff. Change the color. All your options are right there under that text options. And then under arrange, you have different options with text that you can arrange it. You can send it to the back. You can kind of order different things. So you can send text in front of a shape if you want. If in case it's displaying behind a shape, you can send it to the front, that kind of stuff. Align it left, center, right, top, middle. Change the size and rotate it. If you want the text rotated, you can rotate it. Those kind of options as well. So pretty simple with text. If you do want to add bullets to the text, so let me left align this again. So let's say I want to add bullets underneath here. So I'll space down a couple times. And under bullets and lists, under the text options, you can add bullets. So I'm going to I'll add a numbered bullet. And you can start at a certain number. You can change different options of the bullets. And then when you type, so point, let's change it. I don't want it underlined. Point 1. If you hit enter, it'll automatically create your next bulleted list. 2, point 3, etc., etc. And then again, I can click in the middle of the text box and just move it wherever I want. Okay, any questions on text boxes?
Yeah, how do you undo something if you messed it up?
Undo it. You can either go edit, undo, or the shortcut is Command Z, and it'll back up several steps. So if there's a couple different things that you did, you can hit Command Z on the keyboard, or go up to edit, undo, and it'll undo your last action. And that'll go back several. So I can hit Command Z several times, and it will go back several actions. Or redo. If you went too far, you can redo the typing, redo your actions as well. Okay, so that's text boxes. We'll also look at shapes. So under shapes, you'll see it's got several different options. It's got a line with an arrow, a line with connecting points, and then square, round, rectangles, circle, all those different types of shapes. Or you can draw with a pen. You'll also notice it has several different dots here at the bottom. That means there's several different options, but they're all the same shapes and stuff, but they just come in different colors. So you can cycle through those different types of shapes. But once you add it, so if I click on square here and I add a square, it's going to automatically put a square on my desktop, or on the center of my slide, and I can move that around. It looks like I added one of those too. I'll delete that. So I got a square here. Once I've got a square on my desktop, then I can resize it how I want, that kind of thing. So I'll add a square. I'll put it down here. Let me add a triangle as well. So let's say I want to make this shape, this triangle, the same size as my square. So if I start resizing this, you'll see at some point, see how it brings up that up and down arrows. So right there, that is telling me that it's the same size and shape, or the same height and width as my square. So that kind of shows you Those guides are really nice if you want to make shapes and things different, the same size. Also, if I bring it towards my square, you'll see I've got, that's going to center it where my square is, and if I keep moving it to the left, it's going to, well, it won't do it with just one. I need to get another one in there. So let me, I'm not sure if is it the back. There we go. Let me add another shape. I'll add a pentagon. So I'm going to make that the same. And your shape just needs to be on, doesn't need to be anywhere near the other shapes. As you keep dragging it, it's going to it's going to highlight. And so now this is the same size as the shape, or as the square. So I've got a third one here, and if I want to, you'll see as I get closer, now I've got left and right arrows in between my square and triangle, as well as in between my triangle and my pentagon. That means they're spaced evenly together. You see that? So I drag it more, and there they pop up. That means they're spaced evenly together. So those types of guides are really nice, and they come up automatically. So when you have a shape selected, so if I select my square here, again, if you go up to, in your right hand side, you've got style, text, and arrange again. You can change the style of your rectangle, so if you want to choose one of these other colors. You can get more creative with it. Instead, if you don't like any of these styles up here, you can actually customize the color and stuff that's inside the fill of the rectangle. So if I go to color fill and I click on this color box, I can choose any one of these colors. Let's say I want that color, then it changes the rectangle that color. Or if I have a more specific color in mind, I can use this color wheel and make it a specific color that I have in mind. So you're not limited to just these colors. You can hit your color wheel and choose any color that you want. So that's color fill. You can also do a gradient fill that will do kind of a gradient between two different colors. So I've got two different color options now. So if I hit the top, if I hit this yellow type color, or let's choose, we'll do yellow, and then let's choose purple. So you got a purple to yellow kind of gradient fill. You can change the angle of the fill. You can see the effects that it's doing over to the on the rectangle. You can change the angle of it. If you want to change or if you want to have a border around the rectangle or the shape, there's border option. So if you choose line, it'll give you line options, and again, you can choose any of these different types of styles of lines. You can change the thickness of a line, so I'm changing the thickness of the outline of the border of the shape. If you want the shape to have a drop shadow, you can put a drop shadow to the shape, and can change how much it offsets, that kind of thing, and the angle that it offsets to. Or if you want a reflection, it'll reflect the shape. Or if you want to make it a little bit transparent, you can change the opacity of the shape as well. So you have all those different options under the style.
Seems like you could sit here and like play with this all day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
If you double click inside the shape, you can add text inside the shape. So if you double click inside the shape, you can just start typing, and you can have text inside the shape as well. You have a question back there?
That was my question.
And then again, if you do have text inside the shape, you can change all the different text options there as well. So arrange again, you can change the kind of order. So these kind of like layering techniques, where if I want my shape to be, let's say I want this shape to eventually be behind my text here. So I can send this to the back. So I can send, if I have my shape selected, and under Arrange, if I click this back button, it's going to send that shape all the way to the back. And now if I drag my shape behind my text, it'll appear behind my text. Now if I bring that to the front, it's going to appear in front of my text. So that's what I was kind of talking about arranging. You can arrange the kind of layering of each of your objects on your slide. If you want a shape or something to be behind your text, that kind of stuff. Yep.
And is that with images as well?
Yes.
Oh.
Any object.
Oh.
Any object you have selected, image, movie, shapes, you should have these options, these arrange options. You can also kind of add kind of a button type effect with kind of a hyperlink to, so if you kind of want to set this up, you can set up a presentation kind of as a kiosk if you want it to be kind of used by others on their own, where you're not there just cycling through the presentation. You can set up buttons that go to the next slide or back slide, that kind of stuff, or you can have a shape hyperlink out to a website or to a document or something like that. So let's say I want to, so one of these options is an arrow. So I'm going to add an arrow to my desktop, and I'll put it down in my right hand corner. And let's say I want to hyperlink, or I want to link that arrow so that it will, when I'm in my presentation, if someone clicks that arrow, it'll go to the next slide. So to hyperlink that, if you have that selected and you go up to Insert, Format, and go down to Add Link, or a shortcut is Command K. So whatever object you had selected when you chose that option, you can link to. So it brings up this box. If you can kind of see it down here. There's 3 different things, or 4 different things that you can link to. So you can link to a slide in your presentation. So you can link to the next slide, previous slide, first slide, last slide viewed, or you can link it to a specific slide in your presentation. Or you can link it to a web page. So if you want to have a piece of text that links out to a website, or an image that links out to a website, you can do that. You can link to an email if you want something, when they click on that in your presentation, it will bring up an email program where they can email someone. That's an option as well. Or you can have a button that exits the slideshow. So let's say this is a button to go to the next slide, so we want to choose slide and then next slide and hit go to slide. No, sorry. Yeah, so that will take it to. So if I were to be in my presentation, so if I hit this play button up here in the top toolbar, that plays my presentation from the slide that I'm on. So if I got my presentation up, and if I tap on this arrow, that takes me to my next slide. Excuse me. So you can kind of set up buttons like that that will either link to certain slides in your page or in your presentation, or you can link a set of text to a website, that sort of thing. Okay. Let's try to move a little quicker here. So the next one is working with tables and what's it supposed to say? Charts. So working with tables and charts. So these, I've already got these created, and we're going to kind of recreate these on my next page. This is kind of just enrollment information for the spring of 2017 here at Western. So I've created a table, and then I also created a chart that shows that information. So on my next page, I'm going to create a table, and you notice, so I want this table to have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows and 4 columns. So if I go to my next page here, to insert a table, you can either go up to Insert and Table up here, or if you click on this table icon up in your toolbar up here, it'll show you different types of tables that you can input. So some of them have a kind of a design to it with the header and column. So you can scroll through here and just kind of decide what type of table you want to put in here. So let's do, let's just do this one. So I'll click on that and it automatically puts a table in here. Now it doesn't have enough rows in there yet, but it does have 4 columns, which I want. And so basically you just kind of start filling in the information with your table here. So in this column I wanted this to be male, female, and this I think was total. Yep. And then I got down my left hand side I got freshman, next one down sophomore, junior, seniors, and then to add another row, we can either click on the column over here. So if I highlight, kind of run my mouse over this number 5 right here, you'll see a little drop down arrow. If you click on that little drop down arrow, if you just kind of hover over that, you can say add row above or add row below. So if I go add row below, I can keep adding, so I want 7 altogether, so I'll add another row below there. So this will be graduates, and then this will be total down there, I believe, grand total. Okay, so that kind of got the structure of it set up. And then basically just I need to fill in my data. So I've got 644, 777. But I won't go ahead and go through all that, but that's kind of the idea of putting in a table. Once you've, and you can, when you click on a table, you'll have some additional options over here. So you got table, cell, text, and arrange. So it's a little bit different than when we had a graphic or a piece of text selected. So again, you can change the style afterwards if you need to. If you want specific header or footer rows, table font size. So if I tap this, it'll take my font size of my table down or up. Table outline. Grid lines, if you don't want these grid lines to appear, we can take those off. So now, maybe, there we go. So I can take some of them, not all of them. So I can basically take a lot of the grid lines off or put them back on. Alternating row color, if you want alternating rows to have different colors, we could choose different colors, kind of like that. And row and column size, if you had text in there that wasn't quite fitting in the row or the columns, you can say resize rows to fit cell contents. And when you click that button, when you check that checkbox, it will kind of automatically resize the rows to fit all the content that you have in there. In case sometimes if you have too much text that it goes to another line, it'll kind of resize your table to kind of fit better. So that's kind of creating a table. Along with, question?
What I think is cool is it's like sheets or Excel or numbers, for instance. You can put in functions to add or subtract or multiply whatever you have in that table too.
Correct. Yep. Yeah. So I'll move on to charts. And adding charts, again, you can go up to Insert and Chart, and there's lots of different types of charts. There's lots of 2D charts, two-dimensional charts, lots of 3D charts, and then there's some interactive charts as well. I'm going to show you the interactive ones for this purpose. So I'm going to click Chart, and I'll go to Interactive. And you'll see again, there's lots of different options. So other than these, if you go left and right, will be different kind of style formats that you can choose from. So I'm just going to choose one of these. So I'll click the bar chart. I'm going to go ahead and delete my table, so get that out of the way. Okay. So I've got my interactive chart here. You'll see it has region 1, region 2. So the interactive nature of this is if I drag this slider to the right, it will show me different data. So that's May, so this was April. If I drag it to the right, that's May, that's June, and that's July. So that's kind of the interactive. It kind of shows you the different things of that. So if you want to edit that information, because it kind of gives you all that information by default, but if you want to customize it more to your needs, you can do that. So if you click on the chart, you'll see this little button that says Edit Chart Data. Go ahead and click on Edit Chart Data, and it brings up kind of your table in another window. And then if you want to add additional regions, if you click, again, kind of like we did before, if you highlight, so where I've got this green color, if I highlight my mouse over that, you'll see that little drop down arrow. If I click on that, I can insert row below. So I'm going to insert 4 different regions. So I'm going to say region 3, and I'll add another one below that. Region 3, and then region 4, and then I'll just type in some random numbers here to get some more data. Okay, so that's basically just kind of creating another table in here for your chart to put all your table data in there. And once you're done with that, you can close that window out by clicking the the red X circle in the upper left-hand corner. And now you'll see I've got my 4 regions, and it's on April. So now if I kind of scroll through there, so this is my data for April, then May, June, and July. And you'll see, again, I've got my chart selected, and I have some different options over here relative to my chart. So I've got my chart data here. You can have a chart title. So if you want a title for your chart, you can add a title. If you want a border around your chart, if you want the chart legend, you can have a legend appear. Now that's not, you're not strictly limited to it appearing up there. So if I want to change that legend, right now it's appearing at the top, but maybe I want it appearing on the right hand side. If I take this and I just shrink this down, it'll combine it all. So basically I just drug that box all the way to the left, and it put it in more of this type of column format. So I can move that over. I can resize my chart down a little bit. Click on my legend, move that over. So you have, once you have these in here, you can click on individual. So I click on my title. I guess I can't move my title anywhere. It's strictly there. So so we have your title. Let's see, other things you can change under the chart options. Your chart font, chart colors. So interactive chart, slider and buttons is selected right now, but if you just want buttons only, there'll be kind of a left and right, 1 of 4 instead of a slider. So you just hit left or right to change to your different data. If I hit the right button, it goes to there. It goes through your different options. Now let's say you want your actual data to appear on your columns. So that is shown under, I think that comes under, where did it, let me see, value labels, I think this is it, there we go. So under series and under value labels, I changed that to number, and then now it's showing the numbers that I put in. So you can actually see what the numbers are, what the data is when your chart comes up. Now, when this is displayed during a presentation, you can set it so what I clicked on to change, so I've got format. So up here I've got format, animate, and document. So I was on format most of the time. So if I click on animate now, so during my presentation, this is how we can set the animation of what it does during the presentation. So, and you'll kind of see how this affects it once I play my presentation. So I've got a duration of 5 seconds right now. Delivery, we can do it by set or continuous. So continuous will be, once it starts, it'll go through the different months, the different sets, April, May, June, July. It'll go through that continuously, or you can do it by set, and I believe you have to click, if I remember correctly. Let me test this out. So I'm going to change it to continuous first, and then hit play. And so right now it shows April, and if I hit my next button, or if I click on the slide, it changes to May, then it automatically changes to June, then it automatically changes to July. So once you start that animation, it automatically continuously goes through that. And you can change the duration. That's why it was set on 5 seconds. So it went through all those things in 5 seconds. So if I were to drag this out a little bit to maybe 20 seconds, it should take longer to play through those animations. So now you're seeing it's much slower between April, May, June, and then July. So that's the kind of effect you get when you change those animation options. So it's kind of a neat way of kind of showing different sections of your chart and different options so they can see the difference animated. Okay, so that's tables and charts. And now we'll move on to any other questions on those? Okay, now we'll move on to graphics and media. Okay, so you can insert graphic files, video files, or audio files. So we'll work first with a graphic file, which I kind of already, let's see. Yeah, I already had kind of inserted a graphic with that logo. But so I've got a placeholder here, and that's what, when you add a slide that has one of these kind of pictures on it, those are just placeholders. And so it'll come up kind of like this, and it'll have this little icon in the right hand corner. When you click on that icon, it'll allow you to browse to where you have a photo appeared. Or you can just drag and drop a photo inside of this, so I can drag and just drop my WIU logo right there, and it'll come in, and then it'll kind of try to fit itself, but it doesn't always, the picture may not always fit directly in there. But if you double click on the image, so what I did, let me back up. So I drug my logo inside this little placeholder, and you can see it doesn't fit. But if I double click on my image right now, it'll bring up this little slider where I can then slide it to where it will fit inside of the box that I have place set for that. So if there's a specific area that you only have this much room to put a photo in, you can, once you put a photo in there, if it doesn't fit, you can always resize it down so it fits more exactly in that box. Or you can crop it, that kind of stuff. So that's inserting graphics, or again, like I said, if you just drag and drop anywhere on a slide, it'll put that photo in there. Depending on what size, if it's a really big graphic, it'll come in really big like that, or it might come in small. So you can always resize it, things like that. So that's graphics. And with graphics, you can do a little bit of editing as well. So if you want to change the exposure, saturation things, you can. There's some under your formatting options. You can adjust, make some different adjustments on your image as well. Or if you want to put a border around it, create a shadow, reflection, that kind of stuff, you can do that with your images. With video.
Quick question.
Yep.
Okay, so I was looking at the pictures that's on the slide, and it's like this small circle on it, and it has like pictures that you
that-
can go to, like the pictures on your laptop or whatever.
That browses. So that little circle signifies. So this circle right here.
Yeah.
That's signifying that little box is kind of just a placeholder. So where you can either drag content into it, or yeah, if you click on this box, it'll allow you to go out and browse to wherever you have a photo or video stored on your computer. Or if so what this box popped up right now under photos or movies, if you use like iPhoto or the Photos application on your Macintosh, or the movies area, if you've got content in there, you can quickly go to that content and add it into your presentation. Otherwise, you can just drag and drop files from your desktop or from a thumb drive directly right in there. So this is a placeholder for my movie, and I've got a movie here in my folder as well. And if I just drag and drop it inside of here, you'll see that little circle went away, so it's no longer a placeholder. I've actually got my movie inside of here. And it's one that I actually went out and got off of YouTube. So you can go out if you've got a YouTube video or any other website that has a video on it, kind of like YouTube. You can use this little website, www.videograbber.net, and that will allow you to download those YouTube videos to MP4 file, so that you can insert them into Keynote. Just be mindful, copyright things, so make sure you have permission and stuff to use it if you're going to use it in like a presentation. But you can use this website to download YouTube videos to use in your presentations if you want to. So that's kind of how I got this video. So if I go to play my presentation from this slide right now, and if I click on this video, here it comes
Western
up,
Illinois University.
and there's my video.
I'm President Jack Thomas, and it is my pleasure to serve as your guide, along with some of our outstanding...
So with your video, you can also apply different kind of styles. So this kind of makes it look like it's it's got a little bit of a drop shadow behind it. You can add a little picture frame behind it as well, if you want shadows, those types of reflection, that kind of thing. So different types of things like that. So if you want different type of border around it, that kind of stuff. So and under your video, excuse me, if you want it to repeat or loop, you can have those options as well, all under formatting. And again, you have a range options as well. So if you want to send it back or behind a piece of text, in front of a piece of text, that kind of thing. And then audio files as well. So I've got an MP3 file on here in my folder as well, and I can just drag and drop it right onto my slide, and it puts it in here as an audio file. With the audio file, you can have it loop again. If you want it to start on the click, so you have to actually click it to have it start, that kind of thing. So if I go to my presentation now, again, I've got
Welcome
my
to
video.
Western Illinois University.
And that was my audio file. When I clicked, it played the audio file.
Let me ask a related but not related question. So
Mhm.
let's say you're working on this and you need to desperately share it with me because you're like, Stacey Mackey, I need you to see this right away. So, right, PCs have, Google Slides, which is the big deal right now. Like, how could we share this with other people that we're in a group with?
Okay. There is a kind of a, and I may or may not, or it may be because I'm not signed in as my iCloud, but there is, or maybe this isn't the newest version of Keynote, I can't remember, I'll have to see. But there is a collaboration, they're kind of a beta version of a collaboration where I can send a copy of this to you if you want to look at it, or share the link with you via iCloud. On my computer that I developed this with, I'm signed into iCloud, and there was a little collaborate icon where then I could send this to someone. I may just not have the right version of this software, I can't remember. But yeah, you can collaborate with other people on it. I haven't tested that out a lot, but it is an option, I believe. Otherwise, you can share it out. You can export this as a PDF. You can export it out to PowerPoint. You can export it out to QuickTime. Or when you save it, it saves it as a Keynote file. So if you email that file to someone or share it within Google Drive or something like that, then if that person has Keynote, then they'll be able to open it and view it and review it and give comments, things like that. So that's where kind of this comment button up here is. So if you are kind of reviewing this for someone, if they send the files to you and you want to make your comments on it for changes, things like that, you can add these little comment boxes and just have those appear on the slide. And then when they open the presentation up, they'll see those comments and they can delete them once they've seen them. But those won't appear like during the actual presentation if you play it, that kind of thing. Cool. Last but not least is kind of slide animations and slide transitions. So kind of with this first slide right here, I've got a bulleted list. If I kind of want to go through here and have these come in individually and kind of animate them in. Right now, my presentation doesn't really have any animations to it. If I go to my next slide, it just automatically shows up. If I want to see those bullets one by one come in, when you click on this text box here and go to animate up here instead of format, go up to animate. You can add an effect, a build-in effect, and there's build-out effects. So if I want to add a build-in effect to have it fly in or fade in, that kind of stuff, I can hit add effect. Choose one of these options. It has all kinds of built-in effects. I'm just going to choose fade in, wherever that's at. There's fade and scale. There should be a normal fade. Where's my normal fade?
I hope it doesn't have the typewriter where it sends in things one at a time, because that one is very annoying.
Yeah, that's what you want to be careful with, and especially professional presentations. You don't want to have all those crazy animations because they get very annoying when you're viewing them. So just have it either up here, and if you hover over these and you see where it says preview, you can kind of preview what it does. So there's a blur. This must not be the newest version because on my computer in my office, it had a lot more options. There is a typewriter one, but it doesn't do letter by letter, it looks like. So so dissolve. I'll do dissolve and have it kind of dissolve in. That's kind of like the fade one. But you can have it dissolve in or build in by object, or by word, or by character. Obviously, by character would be very annoying. That's kind of like the typewriter
no
effect.
by character, everyone. None of that.
You can do delivery all at once or by bullet or bullet group. So if we do by bullet and then test that out. So now let's preview this page. So I've got nothing there, and when I hit my next button or my space bar, it brings in that bullet. Then it'll bring in the next bullet, next bullet. So that's kind of by bullet. Or by bullet group would be, brings in that bullet group and its sub bullets. And then this, I don't know if I have any others. This must be, that was probably the only group I had. So that's kind of what bullet group means. Or again, all at once, all the bullets will come in all at once. And then you can also do a build out if you want to, when you're done with this slide, those bullets animate out. But I usually just work with build-ins. I usually don't do build outs. So that's kind of animating different objects. So like if I wanted to animate these tables in this chart, I can click on that table, add an effect for that table to just kind of drop in and have my chart. I don't know what 3D rotate. There we go. And so if I play these, oops, that didn't do it. Did I not save it? Must have not have selected it. There we go. So now if I hit next, there's my table, and then there's my chart. It comes in. So any object, text, shape, you can apply a built-in animation to it. Now slide transitions, if you want to transition from one slide to another, that's under this transitions. So if you don't have a specific item selected on your slide, so that will animate whatever you have selected. But if you just go up here and choose one of your slides, or if you want to highlight all of your slides, hold down Shift and click on all of your slides to highlight all of your slides. You can then go over to transitions. So now it says transitions instead of animations. You go to add an effect and add a transition in between slides. So it's maybe this droplet. And so when you go from one slide to another, it will apply that transition. So let me hit play. Go next, there's the transition. Then I've got my separate animations of my objects. So there's my bullets that come in. And then when I go to my next slide, there's the other transition, etc., etc. Any questions on animations or transitions? Okay. So yeah, when you're done, you just go to File and Save, and it will save it. Usually, if it's the first time you've saved it, it will ask you where you want to save it on your computer, whether desktop or to your thumb drive or to the documents folder or whatever. And again, you can export it out to PDF, PowerPoint, make it a kind of a QuickTime movie, things like that. You can set a password for these files as well if you want to make sure no one else can get access to it, or they need a password to access to it. You can do that as well. Any questions? That's kind of some of the basics of Keynote. We do have access in the lab to a site called lynda.com that we could pull up for you. This site, if I log in real quick, if you want to come into our lab sometime and just receive even more training about this program, lynda.com is a nice little resource. I've got access to it, where you can basically search for any type of software, and there's just little video tutorials on each software. So if I type in Keynote and press enter, they have different kind of classes of, and this is kind of one that I watched last week. But basically it's a 4 hours worth of video tutorials, but each one is So you got working with graphics and media, performing basic layout tasks, and all of these are just short little 5-minute videos that you can watch, and they have practice files with them as well. So if you want even more advanced knowledge on this program, you can come into our lab and I can log in and get you access, or at least let you view these videos while you're in our lab. Or if you just want help to come in and practice, get more hands-on, or ask questions for me or my grad assistants or student workers, over in Horban 104, just right around the corner here, right next door to military science. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. Our phone number is 298-3076 if you want a separate appointment to meet with one of us. Otherwise, you can just come in and work on your leisure, at your leisure. If you don't have access to the program, that kind of stuff. Well, that's basically all I've got today. If you don't have any other questions.
Let's thank Josh today, everybody, for preparing this.